Creative writing. This is just something that I'm using to show you. What you guys should have in front of you is your Curlica 1 and your Curlica 2. First thing you do, cut these two out, paste them in the front of your workbook. Cut them out with your scissors, your grey pencil and your ruler, and then paste them in the front of the workbook. Pause while you do that. I'm going to start explaining. So, this is the example newspaper. If you've ever seen a newspaper, you know that they all have headings. They all have a name. You can make your own newspaper name, but we'll get to that. They give lots of information. For example, don't forget, all newspaper articles are written in third person. Don't worry about that. For example, they talk about someone. You won't write, I went to the zoo. You will write, Sandra went to the zoo on Thursday the 13th, and she said that it was a marvelous experience. You know what I mean? You are talking about somebody else. Newspaper articles answer the 5 W's. Who, what, where, when, and why. So as soon as you've decided on a story that you want to write for your newspaper, you will need to answer those questions. Who did it? What did they do? Where did they do it? When did they do it? And why did they do it? Okay. They say newspapers have editors who look for correct grammar and spelling mistakes. Check yours. Grammar and spelling, I will allow you to take this to mommy or daddy. You can take this to them, say, listen, mommy, daddy, this is my newspaper. You are my editor. Please tell me, where did I make silly spelling mistakes or silly grammar mistakes? Good. This is what I want from your newspaper. I want the name of the newspaper. I want creative headline for the main story. I'm not really going to be looking at this one, but I want a name of a newspaper. I want a main story. It does not have to be 150 words. Don't worry about your words. I just want a main story, a nice main story. At least 8 sentences. Oh, sure, that's a lot. That's very little. 10 sentences. 10 sentences, 15 sentences, 10 to 15 sentences. I'm giving all of the information now, so don't tell me that I didn't give it to you. You can re-watch this while you are writing so that you know exactly what I want from you. I want your newspaper to have a name. I want a main story or your main article about who, what, when, where, and why. And this should be about 10 to 15 sentences. Okay? Photo and caption, yes. I want a picture, and we're going to discuss what's written under the picture. I want a picture and a caption for the picture of your story. So you are going to draw a picture showing me what this person did, where they did it, something, and you're going to write a little explanation for your picture. Excellent grammar and spelling, okay, that always comes with. No, I don't need that. No, I don't need that. So those are the 4 things that I will be looking at for your idea mark. Remember, for your creative writing, I give you a mark out of 5 for spelling. I give you a mark out of 5 for grammar. I give you a mark out of 5 for your idea. I give you a mark out of 5 for your, what's the other things? Punctuation, full stops, exclamation marks, commas, those type of things. And I give you a mark out of 5 for your capital letters. Okay. So for the idea, I want a name, an article of 10 to 15 sentences, a picture with a little writing under it, obviously excellent grammar and spelling. So a picture, writing under it, and then I'm going to look at the overall idea of your paper. If I see that it wasn't your original idea, because grade 2, believe me or not, I can see when it's your work and I can see when it's mommy or daddy's work or brother or sister's work. We can see that. I know who is working independently and I know who is getting a lot of help. Sorry, but it's true. So I want this, you write it. Of course, this is a challenge. I know this is a challenge, but that is what is good about it. I want you to use your brains. I realize you guys are getting lazy from thinking, and that cannot happen anymore. So use your brain. Good. Maple Valley, that's true. They usually start with where it happened. The local English class has been given the exciting task of creating the front page of their very own newspaper. That's you guys. Students will be the editors of their own newspapers and will be responsible for developing a theme for their newspaper. Don't worry about that. Each student will be creating just the front page of their paper. That's true. They must include a picture to go with their main story. The image may be hand-drawn. So this part is very important. The image may be hand-drawn from the internet or a magazine. They must not forget to include a caption. So you are going to draw a picture, get a picture from the internet, or cut out a picture from a magazine, but I want writing underneath. Besides the main story, no, you don't have to do that. Students will also ensure that their article covers the 5 W's. That's also very important, and tells the full story. What, where, why, who, when. They will also be sure to spell check and edit their work so that there are no errors. You may ask mommy or daddy for help with the spelling and the grammar. I will allow that. Students must keep in mind that a newspaper should be interesting to read. Nobody wants to read a boring article. Try to think of a catchy headline. Don't worry about the headline. Stories can be funny, silly, true, or entirely made up. However, they must answer the 5 W's. Who, what, where, when, and why. Now, talking about the 5 W's, we are moving on to Kolika 1. Newspaper planning. You don't have to write your name because you pasted it in the book. This is where you are going to plan what you are going to write about. This is where you are going to be writing it. This is where you are going to plan what you will be writing about. So, what happened? Choose a story. For example, me, Miss Itzebet. I decided that I want to talk about what happened. I want to talk about the plant that never stops growing. Okay, that is what happened. What happened? The plant that never stops growing. The plant never stops growing. That's what happened. The plant grows and grows and grows. Now I'm writing, okay? It grows no matter if it does not get water. It cannot be cut. Obviously, this is a made-up story because no plant works this way. It can be put in a dark place, so no sunlight. And it still grows. So there's no stopping it. There are my ideas. This is my idea for my newspaper article. I'm sketching some ideas down. Now they ask, why did it happen? There was a nuclear blast that affected the insides of the plant and made it unstoppable. Okay, so why does this plant not stop growing? Because of this nuclear blast that happened, and it affected the insides, the genetics of the plant, and now it doesn't matter what you do, this plant will never ever stop growing. It cannot stop. When or where did it happen? It happened 2 months ago. I'm not going to say here because I'm afraid I'm going to give us bad luck, and Wildfish Bay has had enough of that. It happened 2 months ago in Planetville. It happened 2 months ago in Planetville. That's where this happened. 2 months ago. So when did it happen? 2 months ago. Where did it happen? In Planetville. Who was involved? I'm going to say luckily all humans were evacuated. Evacuated means they had left before the blast. I'm going to say before the blast. So only this one plant in the town center. Only this one plant in the town center was affected. All of the humans and animals were evacuated. Everybody else left. It was only this one plant that was left in the middle. Do you see now? You are getting a picture of the story. You are imagining this town. You are imagining the plant in the center of town. You are imagining all of the people running because they know there's going to be a nuclear blast. Apparently, have dark ideas. I don't know what happened. Fun and creative ideas. Okay, the kids now use the leaves as slides because it's this big. As slides, it's so big. Lots of birds have homes now because it's safe to live in. This is just little extra things that I'm going to put in there. And town of Planetville is their tourism is skyrocketing. That means they are now getting a lot of people who are coming to Planetville to see this plant that never stops growing. Okay, there's my story. You can go think of your own ideas. This is just an example, but I want you guys to see. I answered each question and I made sure that I expanded on it. I thought of extra ideas and things so that when I write my article, I know that I have everything that I need on this paper in order to write it. So, and this I would suggest to you in the future when you ever have to do creative writing. That's why I've been including a lot of things like this. Is always essential. Planning before you write is essential. It's something you have to do. Now, you can go think of your own newspaper heading. Mine will be Mo Oh, that was an awful Mo News. That's my newspaper's name. You can go decorate it as you want. Oh, I lost it somewhere there. Okay. You can choose in which block you want to draw your picture, but I think I'm going to draw it here. Here's the plant that never stops growing. Huge leaves. Just gonna make some marks on it because these are the leaves. Alright. Looks more like a fountain, but okay, whatever. This is the plant in the center of town. And now I write my caption. superleaf is the plant in Planetville affected by the nuclear blast, who has brought joy to all of town. There we go. I'm describing a little bit about this picture. Superleaf is the plant, Superleaf is its name. Superleaf is the plant in Planetville affected by the nuclear blast, who has brought joy to all of town. Good. Now I start my story. It's easier to start with when or where. 2 months ago, in the town of Planetville. Now I put everything together. A nuclear blast occurred that affected the leaves of the plant growing in the center of town. Luckily, no humans or animals were affected by this blast because they were evacuated just in time. Do not be scared of the information just shared with you. This was not a tragic event. The plant seems to be thriving under these conditions as it does not need sunlight, water, or pruning in order to keep growing. The new enormous size of this plant has brought only positive tidings to the town of Planetville, as the kids now have a makeshift playground in the middle of town. Lots of rare species of birds have returned because they now have a home inside of its giant or underneath its giant leaves. Tourism is booming again since this occurrence, and the town of Planetville could not be more happy. Now I have already included what, why, when, where, who, and then I need to end it in a cool way. The plant was called Superleaf, and I don't think anybody could disagree that this has been a super occurrence for everybody involved. Full stop. There, my story is finished. Here you draw another picture. For example, I'm going to draw tourists. I'm going to draw the tourists because we just talked about the tourism industry that's booming. Here is Superleaf, and here are people with cameras taking pictures. Lots of people who are taking pictures of this big thing. So money is coming in. Tourists surrounding Superleaf share this amazing story with anyone who will listen. I don't know. There you go. That is an idea of what I want for your newspaper article. If you are confused, come back to the video, grade 2. Everything you need to know is in this video. Step by step. Make it interesting. You are allowed to ask for help, but nobody can write your story for you. You must write the story, okay? I don't want anybody else writing the story for you. I'm so excited to see what you come up with. Enjoy!